Well, I guess over time, ratings has always been a challenge in the NAIA, questioned by coaches, administrators, if that's the right process to select teams for postseason. I think what the ratings process has done is it serves twofold. One for PR, the other one is for postseason selection. What the selection model does is takes that out of the mix of just the PR. It focuses on a lot of dialogue throughout the regular season. Our ratings and selection committee talked about that when we started with baseball about 3 years ago. Said that we might want to get a sport to champion that cause. Would they be willing to take that on? They did, baseball coaches, and said, let's do this with a pilot program. That was 3 years ago, I think in August. Over those first 2 years, the pilot program moved to permanent status this past year. A lot of success with that group, with the coaches group, with the administrators that are on the selection committee. It's moving now into tennis. That's doing a pilot program, and I know men's and women's soccer has that on the agenda for approval this year too.
The Saturday ruling, it's actually a lot more important than like for us student athletes, strictly because some schools can't compete on Saturday. So it's important for those schools too, just so it's all fair, but it's also important to the schools that don't get to compete to them as well. Because if a championship is, say, on a Saturday, and there's a really good school that's ranked like 1 or 2, you're not really going to be able to beat the best. And it's really important just for the student athlete experience to be able to play the best people and to play everybody and get more experience for later on.
There's been a couple of pilot programs that the eligibility center is looking at, putting some new all online information for the certification process, be able to digitally sign, be able to send things electronically directly to our eligibility chairs, and sort of make the process a little bit more streamlined for FARs and institutions so that they don't have to worry about going and getting signatures from every single person and that kind of thing to send off the information.
And part of that is looking at new freshman standards as far as coming into our institutions, and we're looking at ways of how to look at the 2 out of 3 that most of our institutions are familiar with. Now with more and more schools not using a top 50% letter, we're having to look at and evaluate what ways we can decide how you are eligible to play once you come into our institutions. And it's still a task force that's ongoing. We're at the very beginning stages, just now trying to gather information, but hopefully soon we'll be able to come back to the body with some answers or at least some suggestions of what we might be looking at.
Yep.